In the heart of Detroit, Michigan, Isaiah Jackson, a 26-year-old black mechanic, worked diligently in the small garage his father, Marcus Jackson, had built from the ground up. The shop, Jackson's Auto Repair, was a modest establishment on a bustling street, its walls adorned with tools and oil stains that told stories of decades of hard work. Isaiah had inherited the shop 2 years ago after his father's passing, carrying forward a legacy forged over 30 years. One humid summer evening, a beat-up Ford pickup limped into the garage, coughing and sputtering. Its owner, a gruff businessman named Edward Langley, stepped out, his tailored suit clashing with the gritty surroundings. "You the mechanic?" he asked, eyeing Isaiah skeptically. "Yes, sir," Isaiah replied, wiping his hands on a rag. "What's the issue?" Langley snorted. "This place looks like it's one spark away from falling apart. You sure you can handle a truck like mine?" His tone dripped with condescension, loud enough for Isaiah's assistant Jamal to overhear. "Mr. Langley, Isaiah's the best in Detroit," Jamal interjected. "He's fixed vehicles way tougher than this." Langley smirked, unimpressed. "I'm not trusting my $50,000 truck to some kid in a back alley shop. My accountant will bury you if you mess this up." Isaiah ignored the jab, focusing on the truck's engine. "Looks like a clogged fuel filter and a misfiring spark plug. I'll have it ready by noon tomorrow." "Tomorrow?" Langley barked. "I need it tonight for a client meeting in Chicago. Parts stores are closed now, sir," Isaiah said calmly. "I'll get the components first thing in the morning." Langley muttered under his breath, storming off with a warning. "If it's not perfect, you'll hear from my lawyer." As Isaiah locked up the shop later that night, a rattling diesel engine interrupted the quiet. A battered delivery van pulled up, its driver, a weary black man in his 50s, stepping out. His clothes were dusty, his face etched with exhaustion. "Sorry to bother you so late," the man said, his voice rough. "Name's Clarence. My van's been losing power for miles. Can't make it much further." Isaiah smiled warmly. "No trouble at all. Let's take a look." For 2 hours, Isaiah worked under the dim shop lights, diagnosing a faulty alternator. Clarence watched quietly, offering to help, but Isaiah waved him off. "I got this." When the van roared back to life, Isaiah stepped back, satisfied. "All set, alternators fixed, and I cleaned the battery terminals for good measure." Clarence reached for his wallet, but Isaiah shook his head. "No charge. Looks like you've had a long road. Just drive safe." Clarence's eyes flickered with gratitude and something deeper, something Isaiah couldn't quite read. "You sure, son? That was a lot of work." "I'm sure," Isaiah said. "We all need a hand sometimes." Clarence nodded, a faint smile forming. "Thank you, Isaiah. You don't know what this means." As the van's taillights faded into the night, Isaiah couldn't have guessed that this small act of kindness would set off a chain of events that would change his life. The next morning, Isaiah arrived early to fetch parts for Langley's truck. As he opened the garage, he found a city notice taped to the door, a routine safety inspection scheduled for that afternoon. The timing felt too convenient to be random. At 9 a.m., Langley returned with a sharp-dressed woman in tow. "Isaiah, this is Claire, my attorney," he said, his tone icy. "She's here to document the state of my vehicle before you butcher it." Claire snapped photos of the truck with clinical precision. "Just protecting our interests," she said with a thin smile. Isaiah worked steadily, recalling his father's words. "Son, when folks try to tear you down in public, it's 'cause they're scared of what you can do in private." Marcus Jackson had faced prejudice his whole career, outshining competitors who couldn't stand a black mechanic outdoing them. Isaiah channeled that strength now, ignoring Langley's snide remarks about unqualified hands touching his precious truck. By noon, 2 city inspectors arrived, poking through every corner of the garage with unusual zeal. "This workbench is half an inch too close to the wall," one noted, "and this oil disposal log is missing a date." Isaiah clenched his jaw, recognizing the same bureaucratic harassment his father had endured in the 90s. "You've got 48 hours to fix these violations," the inspector said, handing over a list of 12 infractions. "Or your license is at risk." Langley smirked from the doorway. "Trouble with the city? Maybe this isn't the right line of work for you." That afternoon, as Isaiah finished Langley's truck, now running smoother than ever, he got a call from a local news station. "Mr. Jackson, we had a tip about shady practices at your shop. Care to comment?" Isaiah hung up, his stomach twisting. This wasn't just about a repair. Langley wanted to ruin him. Langley picked up his truck that evening, inspecting it with Claire. The engine purred flawlessly, and even Claire nodded approvingly. "Solid work," she admitted. Langley shrugged. "Even a stop clock's right twice a day. Doesn't mean the kid's competent." As they drove off, Isaiah's thoughts were interrupted by the roar of a powerful engine. A gleaming Rolls-Royce Cullinan rolled into the garage, its polished black exterior catching the sunlight. The driver stepped out. Clarence, the man from the night before, now dressed in a sharp suit, accompanied by two men in business attire. "Isaiah," Clarence said, extending a hand. "I'm Clarence Thompson, CEO of Thompson Freight Solutions. We met last night." Isaiah's eyes widened. "You're the CEO?" Clarence chuckled. "Didn't mention that, did I? I was testing a new route when my van broke down. Your kindness saved me a $200,000 delivery contract." He gestured to his companions. "This is my legal team. We got some information you'll find interesting." Clarence's lawyers laid out a folder of documents. "We've been tracking Edward Langley's real estate firm, Langley Properties, for months." One explained. "He targets small black and minority-owned businesses in areas he wants to redevelop, using inspections and legal pressure to force them out." Isaiah's heart raced as he connected the dots. "He's been doing this for years?" "Over a dozen businesses in Detroit alone," Clarence said. "Your father fought him off 3 years ago, didn't he?" Langley never forgot. Isaiah remembered his father's late nights, the extra locks on the doors, the stress he'd hidden. Marcus had shielded him from the truth. "I did some digging after you helped me," Clarence continued. "Langley's firm has a deal pending with a tech conglomerate to redevelop this block. Your shop's the last holdout." One of the lawyers slid a document across the workbench. "We found emails between Langley and a city official, coordinating your inspection. And this," he held up a USB drive, "is a recording of Langley admitting to pressuring businesses out." Isaiah's jaw tightened. "How'd you get all this?" Clarence smiled. "Let's just say I have friends in high places, and enemies like Langley make sloppy mistakes." The next day, Isaiah met with a lawyer named Marcus Green, a friend of Clarence's who specialized in small business advocacy. Together, they compiled evidence, forged inspection reports, emails, and a paper trail linking Langley's appraisals to his cousin's firm. Isaiah also recorded Langley's latest visit, where he'd sneered about modernizing the area, perfectly legal under Michigan law for private property security. When Langley returned with a new offer to buy the shop, a generous 20% above market value, Isaiah was ready. Clarence arrived moments later, flanked by his legal team. "Edward Langley," Clarence said, his voice cold. "You fired my company from your projects last year, claiming we didn't meet standards. Now I see why you don't like dealing with people who look like me." Langley paled. "Thompson, what are you doing here?" "Supporting a friend," Clarence said, nodding to Isaiah. "And delivering this." His lawyer handed Langley a cease and desist letter, detailing his illegal practices and threatening a federal investigation. "We've sent copies to the City Council and the Better Business Bureau," the lawyer added. "Your deal with the tech firm? They're reviewing it now, thanks to our tip." Langley's bravado crumbled. "This is a misunderstanding," he stammered. "We can negotiate." "No negotiation," Isaiah said firmly. "This shop's been here 30 years. It's not going anywhere." 6 months later, Jackson's auto repair was unrecognizable. With Clarence's exclusive maintenance contract for Thompson Freight's 400-vehicle fleet, Isaiah expanded the shop, hiring 10 new mechanics and launching an apprenticeship program for local youth. A new sign read, "Jackson & Son Auto Solutions," founded by Marcus Jackson, 1995. Across town, Langley Properties collapsed under the weight of lawsuits and investigations. Langley faced charges for fraud and coercion, his empire reduced to a fire sale of assets. His name, once synonymous with power, became a cautionary tale. One morning, Clarence stopped by with coffee, A ritual they'd started. "Heard you're opening a second location," he said, grinning. Isaiah nodded. "On a lot Langley used to own. We're turning it into a training center for kids who want to learn the trade." Clarence raised his cup. "To Marcus, and to you, for carrying his legacy forward." That evening, Isaiah stood by his father's old workbench, now a centerpiece in the expanded shop. A photo of him and Marcus, both grinning and greasy, hung proudly. "We did it, Dad," he whispered. "Your shop's stronger than ever." The phone rang, Clarence with another idea. "Isaiah, one of Langley's old lots is up for auction. Perfect spot for a community repair clinic. Interested?" Isaiah smiled. From a single act of kindness, he built not just a business, but a movement. Langley had underestimated him, but Isaiah had turned that prejudice into fuel, proving that true strength lies in lifting others up, not tearing them down.